What's going on YouTube? ClayQZult here again with another Final Fantasy Brave Exvius unit spotlight, this time featuring Dark Fina, Memories Returned. Yes, that's right guys, Fina has turned to the dark side and now she's become Dark Fina and she's ready to crack that whip at anybody who steps out of line guys, so be careful. She's coming in at a 5-star base, meaning you're going to need a rainbow. She goes up to 6-star and she's a really powerful mage, a magic damage dealer that you guys want on your team. Let's talk about the Trust Mastery real quick. Dark Bond, it's a Materia. It's going to give you plus 30% magic when you have a rod equipped and then plus 20% magic when you have a robe equipped. Now that's 50% to your magic, and most mages are going to be wanting to wield a rod and a robe because they're going to get the most magic from it guys. So this is definitely a great TM, something you definitely want to farm. I definitely like it. For sure if you get her, it's going to become one of your top priorities if you want to run mages. Although the meta in FFBE, even in the JP version, seems to be a lot of physical damage dealers. Moving on to the Limit Burst, it's Hell's Judgment. She's angry, boys. Dark magic damage to all. It's a 2 times multiplier with ignore 50% spirit. So I think that puts it up to like a 4.7 multiplier, something like that. I think the ignore spirit gives 50% as a 2 times multiplier increase. So pretty okay. It does it to everybody. So a 4.7 times dark magic attack is pretty strong, guys. So you might end up actually wanting to use this when it's actually filled up to do some mad AoE damage. Let's talk about the passive abilities real quick. She does get auto refresh, which is MP recovery 15%, or 5%, excuse me, 15% would be incredible, 5% each turn at the end of battle. So essentially, after the turn in, she's going to revive her MP a little bit up, and that's really good because, you know, all these long fights, these trial bosses, things like that you guys have been encountering, you do have to use ethers, you have to use ways to, you know, recover your MP, and she has that built into her kit, so at least she's getting something as she goes on, you know what I mean? Next up, she gets Revoked. It's 100% resistance of silence, paralyze, and petrify. And this is awesome, guys. It's amazing. That means she's not getting hit by any of this. You don't have to worry about, you know, assuming her being disabled in those ways. It's a really strong passive and makes her even more of a strong mage. And then she has Retaliate, which I thought was crazy. If you punch her in the face, she has a 30% chance of just hitting you back in the face with more magic. So if you hit her, she's going to smack you with her magic whip and get you back, which is kind of cool. And then her most, you know, awesome passive she does get is dual black magic cast. Cast black magic twice in a turn, so you know, she could be casting Thundaga twice, etc, etc. So that makes her really strong, and that ability right there is just like, it is insane. It's a very strong ability, and she has it passively, innately, so it's really awesome. Let's go over her attack abilities. First up is Osmos. You guys probably know what Osmos does. It's going to do a little bit of magic damage to the opponent, and then it's going to take their MP away. And the reason I bring this up is that, again, there are going to be trial fights out there, things like that, event bosses. They're going to take a lot of time to do, and you're going to want your MP because you're going to be casting things like, as you can see at the bottom here, Ultima, things like that cost a lot of MP, and to be able to rip that MP off of someone is awesome. Now, I know a lot of the Espers give you Osmos, but it's cool that it's already in her kit, just in case, you know, your Esper, you didn't choose that in your Esper tree. Let's talk about the next ability, Dystopia. Now, this is a very strange ability, but I think it's pretty cool. Dark magic damage, 2.8 multiplier, 1.6 increase for running uses, meaning that if you use this in a row, consecutive uses, you're going to do more damage. It's going to add a 1.6 multiplier to your 2.8 multiplier. I think it's a max of adding 3 or something like that multiplier, so like maybe after 3 uses it maxes out, but still, it's still amazing. It still does a lot of damage. However, you know, I think that you're going to want to be dual casting her ultimate spell. We'll get down at the bottom. But in the end, you know, Dystopia is pretty cool. It's still pretty cool. However, again, what if you get interrupted? What if you need to cast one of her other spells? What if you get stopped or something and you can't cast Dystopia? It's going to lose that running attack, you know, running multiplier up. So just be careful with Dystopia, guys. It's still really cool, but I don't know if it's my go-to move with Majin Fina here. Elemental magic. She doesn't get the normal elemental magic we're used to in Blizzaga, Thundara, and Firaga. She actually gets Thundara, excuse me, Stonega, Waterga, and Araga, and we're going to deal that much damage at 1.8 multiplier magic damage, so she doesn't really get to chain without using Thundaga very well. You know, that's her go-to move. Now, she can use the other ones, but again, chaining with those is kind of weird because most other mages don't have them, and it's kind of like conflicting. But again, she can at least use Thundaga and Thundaga chain, which is really nice. And she, you know, it's always nice to have an open up a mage that can use the other elements. You may need them in the battles coming up, so that's pretty sick there too. And then our final, her big one is Ultima, like I've been talking about. Magic damage 2.8 times, ignore spirit 25%, guys. And this is a big one. You can dual cast this bad boy. boy and just do a ton of damage. It's amazing. I think this is going to be the move I use a lot with her, to be honest. Maybe Dystopia I'll mess around with a little bit just to see how it works and how much damage I can do. But Ultima is just sweet, right? So that's what we're going to go with. Let's move on to the support abilities. She only has 2 of them. First up, Distress. Random status element to all enemies. So when you cast this, I think it's like a 30% chance for everything but Petrify. And so it's going to cast something on everyone. I feel like this is more of an arena ability. You may want to cast it when you're fighting stuff, you know, out in the PvE world. But PvP, Distress seems like the go-to move, you know, if you want to put status elements on people, which is always really good too. So that's what Distress is used for. And then we have Physical Fall, and this is insane. For a mage, she does have a break. Decrease attack and defense by 40% to all. Which is insane, right? Like, for a mage to have. And this is why we're going back to Dystopia here. What if you cast Dystopia, maybe your other breaker dies, or you don't have another breaker, and you need to break again? Like, this is going to stop your, you know, your revving up of Dystopia, because you need to cast Physical Fall. So it's a little weird, but it's okay. Or you need to cast Osmos, or things like that. I just want you guys to be aware, Dystopia isn't always the best option to be using. So, yeah, those are all her abilities that I want to mention here. So let's move on to our equipment. We'll go with our free-to-play example build real quick. Wizard Rod is going to be the rod of choice here. You get that from the trial boss, the Surging Menace, so all of you guys out there should be able to get this rod pretty easily once you progress through the game. And then we want to be wearing the creepy mask that we got from the Halloween event. If you weren't here for the Halloween event, go ahead and just slap on whatever highest magic stat you have on your Dark Fina. That way she has the highest magic stats you can get. And then you want to put on the Magi robe. This comes from the Coliseum Advanced. And then double hero rings for those 10% magic buffs, which is, you know, really good for anybody we have. And let's move on to the Materia. All magic 10%, and they're all craftable, guys. Stack that magic up on Fina, make her feel good. And if you guys notice up top, Fina's stats did just change when we talked about the free-to-play build. This is based off of using Ramuh as the Esper, and it's my Ramuh, 2-starred, maxed out, and then having her fully potted up, meaning that all stats are max potted up with the stat pod. So I wanted to give you guys that information so you guys can see exactly how much power she can have if you boosted her up. So that's the free-to-play build for everybody out there who doesn't farm to TMs, who aren't really interested in it. Now let's get into the high dollar stuff. We're talking about pay to win here, pay to play. Look at this bad boy, Omni Rod times 2, and that's Arc TM. So you're gonna need 2 of those Omni Rods. You're gonna want to wear the creepy mask still, which I know is kind of strange, but the creepy mask is just that good. You want that creepy mask. Then we're gonna use the Lordly Robe. It's an Alma TM. You could use the Minerva Bustier if you want her to be a little more tanky, but I just want as much magic as I can get on this girl and do damage. So we're going to use the Lordly Robe, and then we're going to use the Ring of Lucii from Noctis so we can use Alterna. So in the end, we're not even using Dystopia Ultima. We're going to use Alterna because it's going to do a ton of damage if you guys were lucky enough to get the Noctis TM. If not, double Magistral Crest from Vanille will work. You know, just smack as much magic as you can on her. Going into the Materia for the pay-to-win build. Dark Bond, Dark Fina's own TM. We want that 50% magic boost. Now, guys, I am unsure at this moment at recording this video if Dark Bond stacks in Global. We're unsure if that happens. Letter to Arms or whatever did, and it didn't in JP. You know, Blade Mastery stacks in JP, it doesn't in Global. So we're not sure how they're going to go about doing this, but we'll find out here in a couple days. So if Dark Bond does stack, you just want to stack Dark Bond all the way down. Maybe even dual wield might not be good enough here, but we'll find out. So you want Dark Bond, that's a Dark Fina TM. Then you want dual wield cast by Zidane, so it's Zidane's TM, excuse me. And then you want Mage 30% from Shantoto, which you guys should have a ton of. I know I have a ton of, so, you know, put both of those on there, and then as you see, again, her stats have changed to show you how much power she can punch, and how much of a, you know, how much power she can rev up and crack that whip on you. I'm gonna be honest, guys, you're gonna want to use Ramuh on her. Most magic you can get gives you a little bit of abilities too, but until we get a better Esper for magic dealers, Ramuh seems like the one to go with. So overall, how good is Dark Fina? The best mage in Global. How more high up is she than Exdeath? You know, I'd say like a tier, maybe a tier and a half. Nothing too crazy to be like throwing out your 3-star base and just feeding all your tickets in to get her. But essentially, yeah, she is stronger than Exdeath by a slight margin, by a tier. I'd say, you know, Exdeath is A tier. She would be the S tier right now in Global, and she will stay that way until Trance Terra comes out, and that's months and months and months ahead, guys. So you should enjoy her if you get her, this new waifu that has the whip. And if you're into that, oh baby, it's gonna be good. If you like this video, give it a thumbs up. Comment down below how you feel about Majin Fina, and if you think she's pretty strong, and then subscribe for future content, guys. We'll catch you later.